Hello, everybody. Welcome to AromaSharing afternoon. Um, Sabrina is our moderator and Jill is our speaker. And so I'm going to let Sabrina introduce Jill. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. So Jill Lebofsky's focus mission in life is to be a champion for midlife women and helping them to look and feel better and feel their best during the midlife years. So as the middle life mojo master coach, Jill has helped over 3,000 women over 40 gain control of their physical, emotional, sexual, hormonal, and spiritual well-being. She is the Amazon best-selling author of 2 books. Jill has been featured in national magazines and on podcasts, and is a public speaker on the topic of midlife women's wellness. So with that, over to you, Jill.
Awesome. So thank you so much, Sabrina, for getting me come back here this afternoon and talk about another subject that is important to me. And so, like you said, I'm an Amazon best-selling author. I've got 2 books that I've written this morning. I talked a little bit about my no sweat, it's just menopause, eating, exercise, and essential oils. And today we're going to focus on another topic that I've written about, the midlife middle, a beginner's guide for women to the intermittent fasting and essential oils lifestyle. And I really wanted to talk today specifically about 4 reasons why I think that the intermittent fasting lifestyle is the perfect fit for the midlife woman. We've all, well, let me just ask you a question here, right? How many of you have ever heard of intermittent fasting before, right? Or maybe you have tried it and weren't all that successful. Or maybe you're just starting it now or thinking about it. Or maybe you're like, what is this intermittent fasting thing? A little bit. But the truth is, if you are a woman over 40, this is probably, if you're on here and you hear my title, Melt the Midlife Middle, you're probably here because you want to know about weight loss. This probably, if you're going to start intermittent fasting, isn't the first dieting attempt you've ever had before. Right. I know for a lot of us, myself included, when I started intermittent fasting, it wasn't my first or the fifth, right? For some people, the 25th, the 50th diet they've been on, right? The 50th time, all those times that you've tried to lose weight, right? You're definitely not alone. There was they actually even did some research and they said that most adults attempt at least 2 diets every single year, with the average adult trying 126 diets over a lifetime. Right? That is a lot of times that we've put ourselves through some kind of deprivation, restriction, things like that, right? Exercising till we drop. So let's face it, right? It's challenging if you've tried it that many times and maybe you've been successful, some of them, and maybe you've been successful for a long time. But I always say, if you're kind of listening to me right now, there's probably a reason, right? Right? You may be back to where you started from, or maybe menopause and issues like that, hormonal changes have put on extra pounds for you and you don't know what to do with them. And if you've been on multiple diets over your lifetime, it's kind of hard to like muster up all that like enthusiasm to that's needed to lose weight. It's kind of hard to go into it with a fresh mindset when you kind of have that been there, done that mindset, right? Because you're probably visualizing these months, right, of what it's been in the past, months of depriving yourself of your favorite foods, month of saying no to everybody because you're on a diet, right? Depriving yourself of those second helpings or spending hours in the kitchen planning and preparing for food, and yet still feeling hungry all the time. And I don't know if you were like me, but like I was just over that, like over that kind of way of living. And if you had heard my story earlier, what I shared, you can go back and hear. But I had been struggling for a little bit of while with my hormonal issues. And I was able to kind of get them all under control in some ways. But my weight was just one area that I couldn't break. And I'm going to tell you my story in just a little bit and how that. But I want you to know that have no fear. Intermittent fasting is here. And it's going to change how you look at weight loss forever. At least it did for me, for someone like myself who'd been teaching weight loss for almost 15 years. And the best part about it is that it's so simple to do. I'm going to explain a little bit about it, and then I want to kind of get into why I think it's just the best way for women over 40 to look at permanent weight loss. So, a little bit about my journey in the intermittent fasting world. So, back in 2004, so going back a while now, I became a Weight Watchers leader. Right after I had achieved lifetime status for the second time in my life, like I said, right, serial weight loss person here. And that was the first time when I became a leader, though, that I had ever gotten up in front of a room, kind of like I'm doing right now in front of a room, and talked to people and taught them something and supported them. And I got to tell you, all these years later, right, obviously I got hooked. And I remained at my goal weight easily for years. I really never thought about it, right? I just kind of ate what I wanted, exercise. I just lived my life and was able to maintain where I was. And I left Weight Watchers after about 3 years of teaching all over so that I could go off and teach on my own, have my own business and teach my own kind of version of the healthy eating, healthy living lifestyle. And over the next 12 years, I got multiple certifications, including certification in Pilates, a certification as a specifically working with a midlife woman. I had all of these tools in my toolbox, right? But then menopause hit for me. And it was like everything I knew no longer worked, right? In a period of 16 months, I put on 20 pounds. I didn't change really anything that I can. I always look back, okay, be honest with yourself. But I really don't think I changed much of what I was eating and what I was doing because it had just been something I had been always doing. The only thing that was different was my hormones had changed. And so at that same time, as I put that weight back on, all those years ago, the reason why I lost weight was because I was having such significant digestive issues and back issues, and they both returned. And then one day I just happened to overhear a conversation. I was actually at an oils class, and I heard two people talking about intermittent fasting. And I don't know why it even caught my ear, but it did. Right? And I just kind of butted into the conversation and I asked a million questions, and I went home and I just kind of did my own research as a health coach, as a certified health coach for almost 15 years. I was like, fasting, that kind of seemed a little unsafe to me. So I did all of this research and I found that I couldn't have been more wrong. When you do intermittent fasting correctly, it couldn't be more safe and couldn't be more effective. Right. And so I just dove right in after I felt comfortable. And 9 months later, the 20 pounds was gone. I've always told everybody I'm a slow loser. Right. I'm never intermittent fasting. If you're looking for the quick fix, some people do lose quicker than others. But I truly believe that permanent weight loss happens when it comes off slowly. So I'd never deprive myself of anything. And 29 months later, that 20 pounds was off. It's been off for 3 years now. So why did I need to rush it, right? We're talking about making this a permanent lifestyle. So having all that knowledge I had and it not working, right? I knew that I needed to try something new. So let me give you a little bit of information about what intermittent fasting is. I know it's a lot of people are hearing about it, but not everybody really knows exactly what it is. And then kind of some of those reasons, as I mentioned, for why I think it's ideal. So, intermittent fasting, first of all, is not another diet, right? It's truly about lifestyle. It's not about what you eat, it's about when you eat it. And there are different methods of intermittent fasting. There's the 16-8, the 5-2, the alternate fasting, the OMAD. There's all these different kinds. But I teach specifically about the 16-8 method of intermittent fasting because I feel it's the most natural way of eating. If we tuned into the natural rhythm of our body, for probably approximately about 16 hours of the day, we would refrain from eating, and 8 hours of the day, we would eat. And so the 16-hour now, where people are saying, whoa, I wouldn't wait 16 hours, right? Got to have breakfast. It's the most important meal of the day. Well, that's a big myth. And if you get my book, you can read all about why that's a myth, right? But what the 16-8 method is that I teach is just that. For 16 hours, you don't eat. And there are a couple of little things that you can have. So don't worry. You can have a few things like black coffee and unsweetened tea and water with oils in them. But for the most part, for 16 hours, you refrain from eating. And then in that 8 hour eating window, you get to choose what to eat, how much to eat. And that kind of puts the responsibility on you to make those choices. And in my book, I give guidelines how to make the better choices, because the better choices that you make in that eating window, the faster, of course, you'll lose, but also the healthier habits you'll have and how much easier to maintain, especially once you've reached your goal, if you already have these habits in place. Um, and I'm just a big believer in letting your body be your guide. So the 16-8 method, by allowing that 8 hour window, you get to choose, you get to really tune into your body. Maybe you're not hungry at 16 hours. A lot of people maybe aren't hungry till 18 when they've been doing it for a while. So it really does, listening to your body, or maybe the complete opposite. When people are starting off intermittent fasting as midlife women, a lot of times we have other things going on in our body. And so I always say to start at 12 or 14 hours and slowly build up to it. Listen to your body as you build and you grow into that 16 hours or more. And again, this isn't a race, right? It doesn't matter how fast it comes off as long as it comes off in the end. So let me see. So, okay, so there is a lot more to doing intermittent fasting. And if you read my book, you can learn a little bit about all of the tricks and tips that I give. But basically, what intermittent fasting does is it gives your body a time, a break, that 16 hours to get into fat burning mode, right? And that's what we all want, is to burn that fat. And so by allowing our body a little bit of a rest in time, it allows it to burn off whatever you've just eaten for your meal. And then once it's there, it needs something else to keep you energized. So it turns inward, it turns to that stored fat and starts burning that for fuel. So anybody who's a little bit overwhelmed when I say 16 hours or 18, I'm crazy. When you are burning your own fat for fuel, you are energized, you are motivated, and it's like you're just feeling good, you're feeling happy. And there are a lot of amazing processes that happen along the way. So we'll kind of touch on them a little bit. Because earlier I said I had all of these tools and they weren't helpful. And after 12 years, I'm not really even thinking about losing weight, right? I couldn't think about going back to Weight Watchers again and counting points again. That just wasn't going to happen. I had a lot of friends doing the keto diet, and I just know that wasn't for me. I could see, that to me was a lot of restriction. And I like to eat, and I like to eat what I want, when I want, with who I want. And I felt like that was not going to work for my lifestyle, right? I knew I couldn't do those things, definitely not for the long haul. And so that's why I believe that the number one reason why intermittent fasting is the perfect fit for the midlife woman is because it's something new to you, right? Like I just gave you this fact that in order to get into fat burning mode, you've got to first burn off whatever you've eaten before, right? It takes your body almost that long, right? Like when I'm talking 12, 14, 16 hours, you're just starting to get into that fat burning mode, depending upon what you've eaten. So you're learning all of these new things. And intermittent fasting is the perfect fit for the midlife woman for so many reasons. And again, starting for the fact that it's just something new to you. It's totally different than any other diet that you've tried before. And everybody knows how tough it is to kind of fully commit to a weight loss program when you're just not all in, right? When you just kind of, or maybe you've done a diet before and you never really were that successful. Or if you're trying another diet again, you weren't that successful, because even if you were for years, you're back again. It's kind of hard to muster up that same enthusiasm you had once before. Right? You may have outside motivation to lose the weight. You look in the mirror, you want to fit into something, that kind of stuff. But the intrinsic motivation to do the work and sustain it isn't there. And that intrinsic motivation, that's like your inner drive. So that's kind of those emotions such as interest, enjoyment, and challenge. And so the novelty of intermittent fasting, it breeds excitement, right? It's something new concepts, right? Like you're like having an eating window. You have this daily challenge of like adjusting to this new fasting window. I always tell people in the beginning, it's almost like a game. How long can I go, right? What can I do and still feel okay? You learn a lot about yourself on the intermittent fasting journey, especially what truly motivates you to eat, right? You get to kind of get like, look at that. You get to learn the difference in your body between true, actual physical hunger versus that eating from that place of an emotional need, or that eating from boredom. And understanding the difference is going to be what's going to make that permanent change. And so my reason number two, all right, for women over 50 or 40 or 60 or 70, right? I always say 40 and above is kind of midlife mojo to me. It's a state of mind, really. But another reason why it's a perfect fit is it's so flexible, right? So I talk about the 16-8 lifestyle, but all of that you get to choose, right? So as we get older, our lifestyle changes, right? And as women become empty nesters or retirees, our lifestyle changes, our daily routine changes. Our meal times don't really revolve sometimes around other people's schedules. So when you invite intermittent fasting into your routine, you choose the fasting time and the feasting time to work for you. And the best part is you can change it up every single day depending upon what's going on for you for the day. Most of us know our schedule, kind of have an idea of what's going on in the next day or two, and you can plan and tweak it a little bit to make it work so that you never have to, you can always still get your 16 and your 8 in. But the other great thing is, what if you were kind of going about your day and all of a sudden, your coworker surprised you with a birthday cake? What are you going to say? No, I can't. I'm sorry. I'm on a diet, right? No, you got to eat it right then. You got to do it. So instead, you get this opportunity. Okay, you got to break your fast early. Maybe you don't make it. Maybe it's only 11 hours you did, but you get to maybe extend it on the other end. Or just say, oh, well, forget it. Normally I'm done eating at 8 o'clock. I'm just going to eat for the rest of the day to 8 p.m., call it a day, and start fresh in the morning. See, the great thing is when you are consistent with intermittent fasting for at least 30 days or more, that's when that fat burning kicks in. And so even when you miss a day or the hours screw up just a little bit, your body still is doing what it needs to do. It's not like it stops and you got to start over again from scratch. And that's why I always say 3 years later, it's amazing to me. There are times, I mean, when I know what I've been doing all week long, especially during COVID, I know the junk I've been eating or the lack of exercise I've been doing. And I'm closing my eyes as I get in on the scale to see, and then shocked that I'm the exact same weight I've always been. And I'm like, thank you, intermittent fasting, right? It's because my body is already a trained fat burning machine. Um, so let me see here what else I wanted to say. So the other thing about intermittent fasting and being flexible, right, is that a lot of times now we've got some free time. So maybe you're socializing more, right? Before your life maybe revolved around your kids, but now maybe you're getting together with friends more, going out more and things like that. So you never have to kind of get those pitying looks for friends when you say no to dessert. You can actually enjoy a dessert. That's great. Isn't that amazing? That was like my favorite part, right? You just plan for that occasion and you just work your window around it. All right. So people always ask me, Jill, why are you still doing intermittent fasting 3 years later, right? All of these years later, you've lost your weight all like that first year. Well, because as I said, intermittent fasting is not a diet. It is truly a lifestyle. So why would I stop? It's now just what I do. It's like I said, I'm not always great. I don't always hit my 16. I don't always eat perfectly, but I have more days that I'm on than days that I'm off, and it works. And the reason why I keep making it work is because I'm all about finding your midlife mojo. And as I mentioned in the beginning, when you do intermittent fasting, after you get into this 12, 14, 16-hour period of fasting, your body kicks in these amazing processes that it can't. And, there's only a couple other ways to trigger these processes that I'm going to mention in just a minute. But these processes are the things that have these anti aging effects. Right? So, bang for our buck, us midlife women can not only lose weight with intermittent fasting, but we can actually reverse the hands of time a little bit, give ourselves a little bit more youthful glow from the inside out. And so, as those wrinkles start to showing, those random aches and pains start to appear, we start to experience some emotional changes attributed to kind of getting older. And intermittent fasting has many anti aging benefits. Women, we spend thousands and thousands of dollars. I think it's like $1 billion industry, right? The personal care, makeup industry, and all of that for women on all these lotions and potions. And all you've got to do is stop eating for a little bit of a day and eat during the other parts of the day, and you can have the same, if not better, effect. Now, I talk about using intermittent fasting and oils in all of my program. My book is called, right, The Intermittent Fasting Essential Oils Lifestyle. So there are a lot of essential oils that are wonderful for anti-aging too. So that's one of the things that we incorporate in, and I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But I just want you to know that I love the fact that it's not all about weight loss. There's all these other benefits that you can have. So as women age, their bodies naturally just overage, having nothing to do with menopause. We start to deplete. So men and women actually start to deplete the hormone, the human growth hormone. We start to slow our production of it. Right. And the human growth hormone is sometimes referred to as the fountain of youth. And HGH, human growth hormone, it has a lot of different benefits, but some of the things that it does in terms of reference to what we're talking about is that it boosts your metabolism, it helps burn fat, and it has these anti-aging effects. It also improves our bone strength. So as we age, a lot of women end up having osteoporosis, which is weakening of their bones and so forth. And so it can give you bone strength with as long as you've got enough HGH going through your body. It just increases our longevity in general. So intermittent fasting is one of those things that can trigger the release of the human growth hormone, can trigger that production. So as our body is naturally aging and depleting of it, just by doing our fasting, we can trigger that and counteract that and receive those benefits, right? There's reasons why when you look at certain people, right? Some people look kind of old and wrinkly and some people still have that youthful glow. Well, some of these people are triggering that HGH, that human growth hormone. Exercise is another way. You have to do a certain amount of exercise and pretty vigorously, but that is another way to do it. Intermittent fasting is the easy way. And so, in addition to the human growth hormone keeping us in looking and feeling our best, we get another anti aging benefit from doing it, right? And it's called autophagy. And it's the body's natural cellular recycling system. Autophagy literally means like auto, self, and phagy, eat. We're literally, our cells are eating themselves, right? They're cleaning themselves out. During autophagy, the damaged parts of the cells that cause these undesirable issues like weight gain, but also like disease, disorder, the skin, changing and so forth. During autophagy, all those damaged cells are destroyed, right? And they take new cells are formed to replace them. So basically, I always call it like a cellular makeover is literally happening when you do intermittent fasting and allow your body to get into this autophagy. You're literally having the cellular makeover from the inside out. And a great book to read, besides mine, about intermittent fasting is The Obesity Code by Dr. Jason Fung. And he says in there that fasting provides the greatest known boost to autophagy. So all you have to do is just stretch the time between eating your meals a little bit longer. And that's what's going to help you feel more youthful and energized, right? Who wants that? Right? What an easy thing to do. And then lastly, my fourth reason why I think all women over 40, over 50, over 60, over 70 should be trying intermittent fasting is that it has incredible non-weight benefits, right? So I just described a couple of them there, the autophagy and the anti-aging. But here are some other things. In 2016, I'm a big research person. I always, I need to know why. You got to show me the reasons why. I'm a red personality. You can't tell. So a 2016 study in the Journal of Midlife Health concluded that fasting helps relieve joint pain, which holds some women back from the exercise needed to maintain their long term weight, right? You've got all these aches and pains going on, and it's kind of hard to get off the couch. And so intermittent fasting may help relieve some of that joint pain, that inflammation that holds you people back. Also, a lot of women around this time of the hormonal changes, the lifestyle changes, a lot going on for us. And so women develop anxiety, depression, and they're often just prescribed medications for them. They're just kind of given that band-aid. And oftentimes those medications lead to more weight gain, right? So kind of lead to more depression. Kind of has like this little circle here. So that same study also showed that midlife women's anxiety and depression levels decreased when they fasted regularly. And I can vouch for that. So intermittent fasting is the perfect fit and it can be the perfect foundation for a healthy and happy lifestyle. And then I said right a little bit ago that we add our oils into the intermittent fasting lifestyle. And so I teach all about that in my book and my programs that I'm going to talk about in just a moment. And you can, of course, do intermittent fasting without oils. People do that. But what makes my program unique is I am the only person, I have done the research and I've looked, the only person is teaching how to incorporate the essential oils into this intermittent fasting program and why it boosts the results and why it helps women make this transition from a diet to a lifestyle and a permanent lifestyle. So your oils can be used during both your fasting and your feasting time. I did my research on this as well, and the oils will not break your fast. right? So during the fasting time, you can, as I mentioned, you can have unsweetened tea, you can have black coffee. I teach a clean fast, so there are people who teach other things you can have, but that's those two things in water are pretty much what I teach you can have during the fast, as well as putting essential oils into your water. So the citrus oils are beautiful, right? Our orange and our citrus fresh and our lemon, lime, all those oils are wonderful to flavor our oil, to help us maybe feel like we're consuming something a little bit. But more importantly, they're also acting as a just a gentle little cleanse for our body, just to kind of, from the night before. We can just kind of, just as a nice way to help maintain a healthy and happy functioning of our body. And then to help get through the fast, right? Peppermint oil, I always say, is my best friend. It's been my best friend for digestive support, for hot flashes, for keeping me nice and cool. So it's been used for. I use it for so many things, and now I use it for my during the fasting period, because then I just don't have to think. I don't I put a little drop either in my water, or I put a little bit on my roof of my mouth with my thumb, and then I don't know. The next thing you know, I'm energized. I'm not even thinking about it, and hours have gone by. And so peppermint is a intermittent faster's best friend, right? So someone just asked about Ninja Red. So unfortunately, no, Ninja Red you cannot have during the fasting time. And I know for a lot of us that's hard, right? Because the morning is when we like to have that. But the everything about fasting has to do with spiking your blood sugar, and so Ninja Red will spike your blood sugar, but it is what I recommend to people when they break their fast, to ease into eating, and for lots of different reasons. But it's a great way to have it right as you as the first thing as you're breaking your fast, and that's something that I teach about. So in addition to the fasting period, like I said, pretty much I stick to for myself the citrus oils and the peppermint oils. That's what I tend to stick to. But also oils like lavender or stress away. They can help us sleep better. They can help our cortisol levels, right? That cortisol levels are things that can trigger weight gain. And so if you're sleeping better, or stress away is helping you to feel less stressed, you're going to help your weight loss in those ways as well, right? Other things, right? I always tell people when we're carrying a lot of the weight we carry around, especially as midlife women, is a lot of emotional weight. And so we can use our oils to release that as well, right? It can also help us to boost our exercise efforts in different ways, or help us recover afterwards. So when you incorporate intermittent fasting into your intermittent fasting journey, when you incorporate essential oils into your intermittent fasting journey, from the first thing you wake up to the moment you go to bed, it's just amazing how what your body will do to help you feel and function at its best. And so let me just talk real quickly here about a little bit about what I have where I share these. So you've heard me mention my book, and so at the back of the book, I actually answer the 100 most frequently asked questions about intermittent fasting for beginners, about the essential oil intermittent fasting lifestyle for women specifically. The 100 most frequently asked questions. But I do tell people that a lot of my book, if you are not in that age range, most of the a lot of it, I should say most, but a lot of it is still very applicable to you. I mean, the 16:8 is the 16:8 is the 16:8. I just give certain ways for the midlife woman to do things safely and effectively for her. So just know that. And then I also have the Melt the Midlife Middle bundle. And so what the Melt the Midlife Middle bundle is my book. It's also, I created a journal which has 3 months worth of trackers, as well as lots of other great information. And then I also created a video series that goes along with my book. For those of you who don't like to read and like to watch and learn, it's got 19 videos in there. And then in November, I launched my 6-week live Win at Weight Loss program. And so that's when I say live online via Zoom, that I do that. And that 6-week program gives you all the tools, the support, and the accountability, right, that you need to really make this. I always tell people you can read about intermittent fasting all day long, but having a community and people that you can count on to show you the right way to do it, and then to be able to incorporate the oils into it and the different ways to do that. And so in my program, the first week on the program, we actually do my version of a sugar detox. So we reset our body. And we do that. And then weeks 2 through 6 is all about intermittent fasting. We talk about figuring out our schedule, what foods are the best to eat. I have Chef Mary Mick. You may know her from AromaSharing. She's one of my experts that are in here. I've got 5 or 6 different experts that join me in here. And Mary shows people how to cook with the essential oils. I've got people talking about positive mindset training and also using our oils and for affirmations and for AFT and things like that. So we really incorporate all of what is so wonderful about essential oils into how we can make that fit and work with our intermittent fasting lifestyle. I run weekly meetings in there. There's tons of things during the week for you to look through. There's a private Facebook group that you can go on. I do weekly accountability prizes. It's a lot of fun. And it's typically, I charge $9.97 for my Young Living members, but for Aroma Sharing only, deep discount ladies at $2.97. We won't start our next program until September, but you will get everything you need right now, as well as I will open up a Facebook group so you guys can at least get some support during the summer if you want to start on your own. And so that is it. And I just hope that what I've taught you today has sparked a little bit of interest in intermittent fasting. Please go to my site, look through everything I've got. At the end of when you click on the description, if you go to the end, there's a little video that shows you what's inside the books and the videos and all that kind of stuff for you to look at and get a picture. Get a great picture, and that is it. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jill. I don't think we have any other questions.